Alright you guys, I want you guys to follow me closely today. Today I'm going to be doing the sprocket and chain swap. What you see before you, I'm not going to go over. It'll be in the link where you can click it and buy it. I've already got started. So far, I've removed the front sprocket cover and the chain cover. What you're also going to do is remove your rear set on the left side. You're just gonna loosen that up. You can loosen it up. I've already done that. I loosened this bolt up and I was able to get it out the way some. So remove that because you're gonna need to have some room to work with. So go ahead and do that and we'll resume. Once you have your cover removed, we're gonna go ahead in here and remove this front sprocket. But before we loosen up the bolt, you're going to need to press down that washer, because without that washer being pressed down, there's no possible way to get that nut off. I've researched online, and that's what's stopping guys from getting that front nut off, is the washer behind it, because it's bent outwards. So we're going to press that back. But I want you guys to take heed that that washer is going to have to be replaced, because after you bent it, it's not going to be the same. So it's advised that you replace that washer. Once you have that replaced, you can go ahead and just resume with what you have to do. So let's go ahead and press that back. Once we got all that done, we're gonna come in here, and this is an important part. Earlier I was telling you how you had to back this out because it's over your nut. What you're gonna need to do is jam something between your rear wheel and the spoke and bring your wheel forward so you can get this nut off. You're probably gonna have to use an impact wrench. That's what I had to do to loosen this up. Or you can use a breaker bar, but most of the time if your bike is new, you may need to use an impact wrench. I used one, so you're just gonna loosen this up. Once that's loosened up, we're gonna take that off and put on a new sprocket. Once that front bolt is off the front sprocket, we're gonna come down here and break our old chain using a chain tool I have. Then just back her off, let you feel it get loose. Once you hit the pin, it'll look like this once it's removed. And from there, you can just back your tool out. We can remove our old chain. Now we're going to hit that rear sprocket. I'm going to remove the rear axle so we can have access to that. I'm going to use an impact wrench, which is unnecessary. You can use a breaker bar, but all I have is an impact wrench, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. So let's get this off there. Once you got your rear removed, you're going to remove the sprocket nuts. I'm going to take my impact gun to remove mine, but you can use anything, a ratchet, whatever you want. place our new sprocket on there now. You're gonna take your sprocket nuts and you're just gonna hand tighten them down for now. After that, we'll torque them down, but it has to, there's a certain pattern that you want to use when you tighten down your sprocket. I'll show you guys, but first let's hand tighten them down. We're going to torque these nuts down. The specs on these is 44 pounds of torque. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to torque these down tightly. But there's a certain pattern you must go in. When you hit one nut, you cross the sprocket and go to the other opposite end of the sprocket. So if I'm on this nut right here, I'm going to torque this down. Now this nut is torqued down. I'm gonna hop over and get that nut on the opposite end. And you would do that for the rest, for all of them. When your rear sprocket nuts are finally torqued down, you're just gonna throw your back wheel back on there, stick your rear axle through. But then we're gonna move back up front to our front axle. And here, I'm just gonna pull this back so I can show you guys how I got it. You have your driven front sprocket, and then I have the washer that I was telling you guys about. You're going to place that on top, and then you're going to place your nut on top. But later on, what you're going to have to do is take, with this washer, you're going to have to, once everything's torqued down and you're done, we're going to bang one end down, one of the flaps down on this, over the nut, so it can hold it in place. This is a new bike, and that's the way they had it from the factory, so I'm just going to follow what they did. Before we slide the chain on, something I wanted to give you guys a heads up on is with the aftermarket chain. To get the correct length you want, as you guys know, you have to cut the chain if it's too long. Basically, the easiest way is to take your stock chain that you took off and line up the aftermarket chain along the side of it so you can get the length you want. Once you find the length, you can use the chain breaker tool that we use to break the stock chain off. Once you find the length you want, just go ahead and use your chain breaker tool to snip a piece off. And then once you're doing that, we can go ahead and slide the aftermarket chain back on. So let's run this chain back through. I'm gonna start from the back. Work my way up to the front sprocket. Make sure the chain is align with the sprocket as you go down. Once you have it aligned, you can just kind of let your chain hang off. Because we're going to have to press the faceplate on and then rivet each link. What's up next is the master link. Before we press the plate on there, we're going to have to grease the O-rings that it comes with. It comes with 4. So what I'm doing now is I'm applying some grease to these O-rings. It's instructed that you use a lot. More is better than a little. So we're gonna place the master link on there like this. You see I greased the 2 O-rings on the inside, and now I'm gonna place that onto the chain. Once you got it lubed, you're gonna put your black plate on first, and then we're gonna take our other 2 O-rings, grease them up and slap them on the front along with the plate, the other plate that you get inside your kit. So let's do that right now. Once you got it like that, we're gonna get our tool and we're gonna squeeze that on there so the rivets can stick through. We can go ahead and pin those down to the required specs. So let's move forward with that. Alright guys, so once your tool is ready to go, you're just gonna align it with the plates and use it to squeeze your plates down. But on this part right here is advised that you be cautious, because you don't want to tighten down the plates too tight. You want them looking exactly as the other plates that came with your chain. You want them the exact same length. So once you take your ratchet and you start tightening them down, you just want to look at it closely, back off, pull back in as needed to tighten it down. And then once you got that done, you'll start with the rivet. Once you have your plate down, it should look something like this. Your pin should be sticking through. You should have some distance coming from the faceplate. There should be some distance from the pin sticking through the plate. But now we're just gonna go ahead and flare these pins. Oh, and before I move on, I wanted to say that you can take a caliper and measure the width of a adjacent link. And once you measure this, if this was like 18 millimeters, you would come over here to your master link and measure that, and it should be in the realm of 18, 19 millimeters also, just so you know you have your plate pressed on far enough. I wanted to bring that up. But let's go ahead and rivet this pin, and we'll just need to make sure the chain is aligned And I also have slack in it. I don't know if you noticed, but that's gonna have to be tightened up also. But let's go ahead and rivet this pin down. Once you finish your riveting, you should have a nice rivet like this. It should be flared, even flare on there. You can take a caliper and measure the required specs for that, but you should have an even flare. After that, you want to move back up to your front sprocket, and we're going to go ahead and torque that down to the required specs. So let's go ahead and move forward with that. The specs for the front sprocket is 108 feet-pounds of torque. So we're going to go ahead and torque this down. You can't see it, but I'm using a bar in the back to hold the wheel in place, because this will just turn along with the wheel. So I'm using a bat as I torque this down in between my spokes. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Once you got the front sprocket torqued down, you're pretty much done now. You're just gonna have to make sure your chain is aligned and make sure it has enough slack. You're gonna have to check the required specs. This is for the ZX6R, so if you're watching this, the specs is probably the same. I believe it's about 1 inch of play up and down that you should have in your chain slack. And once you're done with the chain slack, you're gonna make sure you got your adjusters right in the back. Back here, you're gonna adjust these. You can loosen or tighten the chain as needed. So once you got that done, that's it. I want to tell you guys to look down in the link and make sure you go check out all the equipment I use to do this. I showed you at the beginning. All that stuff is down in the link, so don't forget to go down there and click. But we're pretty much done with that. So I'll be seeing y'all later, and y'all be on the lookout for my other stuff.